Hey, 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 it's Shauna here with Let Us Be Inspired. It is Try It Tuesday. And no, this is not tie-dye. I don't know why I'm intimidated by tie-dye, but it did not happen this weekend. So eventually we will try tie-dye. I've done it as a Girl Scout when I was a kid, so I'm not sure. But I really need to repot my orchids. So I inherited some orchids and they're in various need of repotting. This is my girl. I got an orchid and I'm gonna tell you the truth. It had beautiful flowers and I thought it was, and the flowers fell off and I was really sad. And I thought, well, the leaves are green and I will just have some greenery. And then all of a sudden this spike started growing and I'm like, Now see, these are orchid roots, so not to be confused. The spike started growing and I'm like, Then it kept getting longer and then I had thrown this stake out actually and I hadn't thrown it out, I kept it because crafters don't throw anything out. And it needs to be actually restaked now, so I'm glad I noticed. And I kept it and I got it back out from under the sink and stuck it on there and it flowered again. So if your orchid flowers die, your plant is not dead. Do not throw it out. However, I do want to put a disclaimer on this. I have never repotted an orchid. I'm a YouTube professional orchid video watcher. And I feel like I have a lot of knowledge, enough that I'm going to give it a try and hope that my orchids don't die. So you can do it too. But, all right, so this girl is flowering now, so we're not going to mess with her. But she is in bad shape. So I will show you that she has some dead roots that need to be cut off. And some of these roots do not look good at all. Orchids roots do in the wild, they don't need soil, and I'm not going to put them in soil, but they're in what's called a bark or medium, which is a mixture of bark, sphagnum moss. What is she saying? This, look, I wrote it down. It's a funny word. It's probably backwards. Shoot. Anyway, sphagnum moss. I'll link it for you. Anyway, and then and some different things, but I bought pre-made mixed bark because I shouldn't try to do that. So this girl is not going to be repotted. But hey, if you're just joining us, I am repotting orchids tonight. All right, so orchids are very sensitive, so they can have viruses and things and fungi, so they recommend wearing gloves, and you need to sterilize with rubbing alcohol all of your tools that you use and change gloves each time. And clean out your pot and things if you're going to put it back in the same pot. I am not. So orchids, I can't remember the word epiphyliites. That's not right, but something like that means they don't need soil to grow, but they need containers like this where the water drains out. They can't sit in water at all. So if you, I can't see anyone's comments. Oh, hey, Sarah, I can see. Okay, say hello so I can see if you can hear me. So, so pots like this, I got these at Amazon. So 3, 4, I don't know, orchid stuff. I didn't know that this was gonna be such an expensive hobby. It was expensive, but my favorite YouTuber, so if you want to see me try to not kill my orchids, my favorite YouTuber was Miss Orchid Girl. And her favorite orchid supply place was repotme.com. And so I liked everything that she used, but I'd already shopped at the Land of the Zon. So Amazon had different things where this shop, I don't know what it's called. But anyway, so this shop came with kind of its own moss and bark, and you kind of mix it up. And then I also tried, this is the one with the name, sorry. Orchid Bloom Again. And it comes with the pot and the lava rocks, fir bark, cocoa husk, perlite. That's the word I was gonna say. Hi, hey Maria. And comes with more sphagnum moss. So, all right. So if you're just joining me, we are trying it Tuesday, and we're repotting orchids and hopefully not killing them. I've never done it before. We've sterilized our scissors. And so basically when you get an orchid from a store, like a grocery store or Target or something, the orchid is not, I've learned, the orchid is not potted well. They just want to sell it a lot, and it's probably watered by, you know, the high schooler, not necessarily, no offense, but just watered by someone who overwaters it. And so orchids don't need a ton of water, but they do need some, but not too much. They don't need to sit in water. So I left this spike on here so you could see. So this plant has flowered, and this is one that I inherited. It's definitely root bound. I would think my granny never repotted an orchid, honestly. So it's probably never been repotted. But it's, I mean, honestly, it's somewhat healthy from what they said. The leaves are really green. We've got new leaf growth. And the reason I'm wearing gloves is orchids carry fungus and disease, and you're going to want to change gloves between plants so that you don't want to, if this plant has something that plant, I should wear my corona mask. No. That was a joke. All right, but focus. So it probably has never been repotted. So, and it didn't look too hard. All right. So I did everything that you use. You need to sterilize. So I did it with rubbing alcohol. If you don't have a heavy duty set of scissors, these are from Lowe's, the Cobalt brand. They're awesome. It's like a 2-pack thing. I use them for crafting. I use them for everything. I think, and you can use like trimming shears for gardening, but honestly, my middle child has lost ours. And so I don't know where they are. So what we're gonna do is take out the spikes. I probably should clean them with rubbing alcohol. All right, and we're just here in my kitchen over my sink, and I did put a bucket in here because I don't wanna hear about it if moss is in the sink. Okay, and so I would assume that this is a decorative plant thing, and there is a orchid pot in here, but I don't know. Oh, I was gonna cut this spike. So it says so here's your roots, and again, a disclaimer, go watch Miss Orchid Girl for professional orchid repotting. Okay, so we're just gonna cut near the, here we go. We're gonna cut near the stem, I believe they called this thing here. All right. And I think, and they said just kind of break it. So they're fragile, but not fragile, is what I've learned. Oh, I have no fingerprint, okay. So, gosh, I don't think there is a pot in here. Oh, and that's dinner. One moment. I was gonna do this later, but you know, I got kids at hockey practice and it's quiet in here. Okay, I don't think there's a pot in a pot. So here, we're gonna show you, here's the sink. So I'm just gonna turn it upside down and try to work it out. And you hear all that falling out, that's bark and moss. And you want to be careful not to break them. Oh, there is a pot in a pot. Okay. Okay. So this is a normal orchid pot. Okay. And it says if your roots are like this, you want to try not to break them. So let's shove them back through this hole. Come on, little plant. Okay, an orchid is a phalaenopsis. Ooh, I can say it. Look, oh, again, that's backwards. I'm sorry. Phalaenopsis. So and I don't know anything about these other than they're orchids and they're phalaenopsis. So after that, I think it's called the genus. I don't know, really, truthfully, I can't remember science. I should though, considering I'm a virtual teacher. But like species. And so anyway, I don't know what kind of orchid they are. I know that this one, when it flowered, it was the prettiest pale yellow. And even root bound like it is, and somewhat, I would say probably the lady would think that was unhealthy. It did flower. So orchids are sensitive, but I mean, this one was hardy. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you just want all of this bark, or they call it, or in medium, to come out. If your roots look like that, it's dead. Not the plant, that root is dead. All right. All right, and so you want to pull all of this out. Oh, Sarah, yeah, I've got four orchids to repot, and plus mine. So it's what I've learned is that you don't want to repot your orchid if it is in the stage of this. So I've got one girl here. I call them girls because orchids are so pretty. I mean, guys are cute and all, but I mean, orchids are beautiful, like women. All right, so if it's like this and you see this here, you do not want to repot it because it will kind of shock the plant, because it's putting all of its energy into making those flowers. So you don't want to do that, and you want to make sure that you definitely water it and you don't miss it. Rule of thumb for me and how I've kept them alive and all my houseplants, excuse me, I water them every Thursday. So without doubt, I water them on Thursday. I have an alarm set in my phone. Sometimes it's Friday, it is the truth, but I water them every Thursday, Friday, mostly Thursdays. Anyway, so we're gonna get back to this plant. So orchid roots, so they grow in the wild and they can actually photosynthesize. So that's why they're green. So they're, just because some of them are green. The ones down here just haven't had any light. So they're still fine, but they just haven't had any light. So that's why they're kind of like a yellow color. But they said to know when the orchid, and this is the first time I've ever done this, so we'll see. So it's the first time for me touching it, but from what, you know, YouTube University, if it's dense and not mushy, that is a healthy root. Again, if it looks like that, it's dead. All right. Hey, Shelby. Hey, Jeanette. Aunt Jeanette, sorry, I should say that. That was rude. Hey, Aunt Jeanette. All right. So we're repotting orchids today. I'm wearing gloves because orchids are sensitive and have fungus. Any tools I'm using, I've used rubber and alcohol and to clean them, and then before I trimmed anything, and then use rubbing alcohol again between each repotting. And I have a few here to repot. We're only going to repot one though. I'm going to do them all, but just not, you guys probably don't want to hang out that long. Okay, so this is the root system of an orchid, and it's okay. I haven't killed it yet. It's not going to die. Yeah, so this is what you do. And so this was what was around the orchid. So it's a mixture of, this is mostly bark. I don't see a lot of moss, but I think the moss kind of disintegrates. So, yeah, let's see. So it says to rinse the roots in lukewarm water. And that also, so if you have any stubborn bark, you can rinse it in lukewarm water, and it helps release the bark. Put something in your drain, of course, and all that good stuff. I'm not responsible for, and use a bucket or something for easy cleanup. Or do it inside a paper bag, you know, take the bark out inside a paper bag. All right, I'm so excited, guys. It's actually working. Yeah, I watched all these YouTube videos. So this is actually what it looks like. And according to my YouTube video, this plant is in way better condition than I would have thought. So I feel like I need to lay it down or something. Okay. You can see that or no? You can kind of see that. Okay, so we're going to do some operating. I've already cleaned my scissors with alcohol, and I'm just gonna trim down this and any dead ones. Dead one. Oh my goodness. So this one, I was hoping one would, oh here, okay, this is it. So, the outer, now this root is really dead and damaged, but the actual root is this guy. And it just has a protective sheath kind of thing that helps the plant absorb water. So that's your actual root. So if you see stringy things, that's your actual root. Again, if your root is not mushy, I would think it's healthy. You can see this, yeah. This root here has like a black place, and it's a little mushy after it. So I'm gonna cut it before it. It says that sometimes you don't want to have open roots, but I think it might die anyway, so that's what we're doing. Again, not responsible for your orchids, and I will pop on and let you know if this guy lives. Girl, this chick. Yeah, do you guys name your houseplants? I have a few that are named. Gosh, I don't know about that one. That root is kind of off of that root. Anyway, so we're just going to trim it up. If we were not live, we could do a time lapse and you wouldn't have to watch all this, but we're live. Hanging out on a Tuesday. How was everybody's day? Okay. So we are repotting orchids on Try It Tuesday. We're not crafting, but this is all part of life, right? And everybody gets their, my favorite YouTuber was Miss, M-I-S-S, MissOrchidGirl.com. I did link it in the description. Go watch her. She has multiple for beginner lessons on what to do and how to care for your orchids. Basically, she says, you know, if you buy it at a grocery store or were gifted it from, you know, a grocery store, Target has them, it will need to be repotted. And that is at no fault to them. They're just planted in bulk, and, you know, especially like on Mother's Day, and they're overwatered. Okay, so you want all of your roots, and it's okay to be green or this color, but they need to be kind of like a green bean, like hard, but not mushy. So uncooked green bean. I think this looks pretty good considering what I've seen. I don't know exactly what I watched already, so I got my, you know, YouTube certificate in orchid grooming and repotting. That's a joke. Okay, so I was really expecting it to be a lot more mushy. So, yay, healthy girl. Okay, but definitely root bound, but gosh, she's big. I didn't know she was gonna be that big. All right, so we're gonna, if you're just joining us, you can get some different, orchids don't grow in soil. They are, I don't know the right word, you guys, epiphyliites? That's not right, don't quote me. Anyway, they don't have to have soil to grow. Miss Orchid Girl, she gets her medium, which is the bark mix, at repotme.com. And this is from the land of Amazon, what I've purchased. And then I discovered Miss Orchid Girl after I did some research. So I'm sure this mix is great too. It's from Orchido Bloom Again. Okay. I'm not sure, maybe Bloom Again. Anyway, so it's a mix of lava rocks, fir bark, cocoa husk, and perlite, and sphagnum moss. So, all right. And this is what orchid bark looks like. If you are just joining us, this is what was around the orchid. And this is fresh medium. You want to get, I'm gonna use a fresh orchid pot. Yeah, I'm gonna use a fresh, orchid pot, and it has all these drainage holes. So we're going to put the orchid into this pot, you guys can see, and we are gonna just, I didn't expect to have this many roots, so, and it's okay. You know what? Rethink a step. So I have watched several videos. One video put a few pieces of bark in the bottom, which makes sense because if you have a pot without a hole in the bottom, you put rocks in there, right? Well, that's what I do anyway, for a little drainage. So we want to do that. If you want to know what we're talking about when we say sphagnum moss, this is sphagnum moss. This is the bark and lava rocks, that kind of thing. So they did bark and then a little bit of the sphagnum moss. And then let's see if we can get, I want to have some in there like that, huh? You guys, come on, girl. I love you. You're going to live. All right. So then, has anyone ever repotted their orchids? So then it says just fill it in like this. Now the reason that she said repot me, oh, what you doing, Root? She said repot me is she liked the mix because it was clean. And it did look clean. Like this doesn't look dirty, but it did look clean. So basically you fill in and you shake. Now her moss from Repot Me seemed a little bit finer. So I would feel like right now, I think some of my roots, they actually are filling in pretty nice. Okay, so I would start to say my roots probably don't have bark, but I guess it is going down in those holes. Okay, stay right there. All right, I probably should get that dinner out of the oven, but I got gloves on and moss. It's crispy night. It's all right. You guys already had dinner? We're having a late dinner because of hockey practice. Story of my life. All right, so and we're just gonna continue to fill in. And she like took her finger and stuck it down in there to make sure the moss was, but see my bark is kind of bigger than hers, so. All of my orchids have some root exposure, so if that one keeps wanting to pop out, I'm just gonna let it because like he wants to see the light. Again, don't know exactly what I'm doing. Leftover soup. Oh, soup is yummy. Okay, so they just kind of kept tapping it to let the moss fall down in there and the bark. And you want to have good coverage around the stem. So I think these little pieces. And then, so some people, when they had those roots out, like I had the roots out, some people did spray them with the hydrogen peroxide mix. I wasn't sure about that, so I went with not spraying it. And it didn't have any like fungus that I saw, that one little black piece, but so we're just gonna hope that we don't need that, because that step. So if you have your roots out and you have a hydrogen peroxide mix, which you probably can get that from repotme.com. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think if you use the, if you're gonna go there, if you use mix, capital M-I-X, you get 10% off. I'm just gonna pour all this in there. Okay, so it does feel tight. It is repotted. Aw, she looks better. So here's the test, which I don't want to do it, but said that if it's tight enough, and of course if your pot is heavy, don't do it, but you should be able to like hold it by this and it not come out, which that did not happen. It's going to come out. So I may finagle with that a bit more. I may also get some smaller pieces from Repot Me, But then Miss Orchid Girl, she does soak hers in a solution for 30 minutes or so. I'm just gonna wet mine kind of pretty thoroughly to let the bark be wet, and then let it dry out and see what it looks like next week. So it is going to be, the plant is going to be some stressed out a little bit. Oh, hi. Oh, that did not work. Hi. Okay, so the plant is going to be, she's going to be stressed out from being, disturbed and all. And so I'm going to make sure I water it and just keep checking on it. There were videos on what to do for sick orchids. So if the leaves start to get limp or something, I will watch a video and try to nurse it to health. But hopefully she will produce those beautiful pale flowers for me again. And that is the step-by-step on how to repot an orchid. I would definitely go and watch a professional. I linked the one that I like the best in the description of the video, and try it Tuesday. It was definitely not as hard as I thought. So go and take care of your plants, water them once a week. You can have orchids that flower again too. Take care, guys.